I know it's almost Christmas. I'm trying to get as many of these out as I can here. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be building this cool snowman set. Something that you can use to decorate your own home. You can give it to someone else as a Christmas gift, or you can sell these for a serious return on your investment. Let's head into the shop and I'll show you how I built these. So for this project, we're only going to need one cedar fence picket here. I'm going to go ahead and sand down both of the faces. That way when we go to cut it and everything later, that part's done and out of the way. It's a lot quicker to do it while it's all one piece here. So let's get the sanding knocked out. So with our board sanded, I hit it fairly quickly with a 120 grit disc. And you can see I left all of the factory saw marks from the mill in here. That's to keep that nice rustic appearance to your Christmas decor. I usually use this style for pretty much anything involving Christmas. Now let's get over to the miter station and we'll get our lengths cut for all of our pieces. By miter station, I really mean just this collection of tools and scrap wood that I know everybody has in their shop. We're gonna start off by cutting the end off our lumber. That way we know that our starting edge is gonna be a perfect 90 degrees. Now it's super simple. We're gonna do our first cut at 14 inches. Our second cut at 16 inches. Our third cut at 18 inches. And then our last cut, again, at 14 inches. Now we switch our saw to 45 degrees, and just like the factory ears here, we're gonna cut 45s on our 16 and our 18-inch length. Right like that. Super simple. Now that we've got all our lengths cut, let's get our table saw set to 2 inches. And when you're setting the fence on your table saw, make sure your measurement is to the inside of this closest tooth. That way you know that after you lose the kerf of your blade in the cut, what you're left with is the exact rip that you're needing on your board. Go ahead and cut 2 lengths at our 2-inch width. Now we've got all sanded our 14-inch, 16-inch, 18-inch, and 2 backer pieces cut. We'll set our backer pieces to the side. Let's get these painted. I'm going to show you how to do all this in one quick step so we're not waiting around for multiple drying times. Go ahead and grab whatever cheap white paint you can find. A huge tip if you go to a big box store is to look in their mist tint section, and you'll often find a white that somebody had mixed and it just wasn't exactly what they wanted. You can pick that up really cheap. That's what I did with this can here. This has been sitting for a while, so we're just gonna give it a good shake here. Right like that. And in case you were wondering, the sounds while you're shaking your can of paint are necessary. It helps with the blending of the pigment and the oils in the paint. Let's come over with our paint tray here. We'll pour in some paint. It doesn't take a whole lot. Get a little bit in there, clean up our mess. I'm gonna get a couple scrap pieces just to lift this up off of our super nice tablecloth that we got here for all of our Christmas decorations we're building. If you guys like this kind of content, I've got a bunch of other Christmas builds on my channel as well that you can go check out. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm really pushing to get monetized before Christmas comes around. That way I can continue to just keep putting out as much content as I possibly can and getting you guys all of these really cool projects for your home and for customers. So with our white paint now, we're gonna go ahead and hit the backs of these. Apparently felt like painting my hand as well. We're only gonna do one coat of paint, and I'll show you why towards the end of the video. With our paint applied and wet, we're actually gonna push these together, make sure all of the bottoms are lined up. With our paint applied and still wet, we're gonna push these together, make sure all of the bottoms are aligned, and then we're gonna take our two backer pieces, set them right on the backs of these, right like that, and we're gonna countersink a few screw holes to attach all these together. Now I'm just using little 1-inch panhead screws to attach these. You don't need anything crazy or anything fancy. Now with our backer boards attached, we can flip this piece over and you can see why we can do all this in one quick, easy step. Let's go ahead and get our one coat of paint on the front. There's our one coat applied. We're gonna let this sit and dry for about 30 minutes and then we'll come back and I'll show you the finishing touches. We've got our paint dry now. Let's finish up the painting process by distressing this white. Remember, we want to keep that nice, warm, rustic look to our Christmas decor. So by roughing this up and making it look a little aged, we're sticking with that central theme. That's gonna leave us with our little snowman leaner distressed here. Let's get the faces painted, get the accessories put on, and get this piece finished up. We've got everything cut and assembled now. We've got our one coat of white paint applied, that's dry. Sanded it down to rough everything up and get that rustic look going. Now it's time to paint the faces on so that we can figure out where to align our accessories. I'm going to use the Sharpie oil-based paint marker. I highly recommend these. I really recommend only the Sharpie brand. I've used a few other brands in the past and they come out watery and milky and you have to put multiple layers of paint on. These Sharpies always seem to work and they always seem to last a really long time. As with everything else that I use on my videos, I'm gonna provide a link below. It's an Amazon affiliate link. By clicking that and purchasing what you need for these projects through that link, it gives me a small percentage of what they charge and it really helps the channel out and helps us grow here on YouTube. When you first start using these markers, you'll need to shake them. You can hear there's a marble inside that mixes up the paint. There's also a felt tip that depresses, and that allows the ink to absorb into that felt tip. So you're gonna want a little test piece and you're just gonna sit and hold this felt tip. And we just wanna get that tip completely saturated with our black paint. Do a few little test lines here on our test piece. Those look great. Set that to the side. I've already pre-drawn some eyes on here. I looked up some designs and found a few different ones that I like. Don't do the same face on all three. Make all three of them different, but make all three of them complement each other. And you can see I'm just using the marker to fill in all of our space here. As you use these, every now and then you might have to go through and shake them again, depress the tip on your test piece, and get the ink flowing. There's the eye sets that I used for each one of these. Let's get the mouths drawn now. There's our faces complete. We're gonna paint on the noses, our orange carrot noses here. So we'll just get some of our orange paint. I'm just going to use the tip of my brush. You can see the brush that I've got is pretty wide, but we can just use the tip of it here and get our noses in place. There we go. There's the faces complete with the carrot noses. They're looking lovely. Now we need to come up with some kind of accessories, because the accessories are really gonna be what make our pieces stand out and make people desire ours over other booths or other sellers. Now we're wrapping up into the final section of our project here. This is where the magic really happens. We need to do 3 separate accessories for these 3 snowmen so that they look like a set, but each one stands out from each other. Now I found this black and red scarf the other day, and I'm just gonna cut some sections out of it. We'll get rid of the end here since we're not using this end anymore. And what I'm gonna do, since this can't wrap completely around and tie it in the front, is I'm actually gonna make 2 sections. I'm gonna glue those on there and then we'll tie it like a scarf. But you can see what I've got here is a little wider than what I actually need. Let's shape that up into a more manageable piece. Something like that, and then we've got plenty to spare for when we make other sets of these. So we just cut this in half. With our hot glue, we're gonna go ahead and give Mom a scarf here. So let's put a nice little dab here and another nice little dab on the opposite side. Attach one side here and attach the other going the opposite way on the other side. And then we're just gonna tie these just like you would a normal scarf. Just a quick little single knot, right like that. And Dad is gonna get this cool little ribbon bow tie that we made here out of one of our ribbon sets. To attach that, we're just gonna put another little dab of hot glue there, attach his bow tie. And then now I'm thinking some buttons, because every snowman has buttons down his shirt, right? Let's give Junior here these cool little snowflakes. I'm thinking Dad can get the green. And then we'll give Mom the red. Make sure to clean off any of your little hot glue strings so these look nice and neat. And there you have it. It doesn't get much easier than that, right? We've got our awesome little 3-tiered snowman leaner. People can lean this up against their kitchen countertop and lean it against the backsplash. They could set it on the dining table, leaning back against the wall. You could set it up against your TV stand. The possibilities are really endless for getting photos of this for your marketing. But let's run through a quick rundown of what our cost is so that we can figure out what our profit per piece is going to be. We used 1 cedar fence picket. Here right now, those are running for $3.50 a piece. With all of our paint combined, we're gonna add in $1. Remember, we only used a tiny little bit of each different color, so they're really gonna go a long ways when you're putting together these sets. And then let's factor in about 50 cents for all of our accessories. We use a little bit of a few different things. We've got our buttons, we've got our scarf, we've got our ribbon that we use for our bow tie, little sections of different things to give us a good variation. So that gives this particular piece a 400% return on your investment. For every dollar that you put in, you're getting $4 back, and you can multiply that as many times as you'd like, sell as many of these as you can. And when you're making these sets, you should really focus on making multiples, but making each one a little different. So that way when you set them up in your booth or you set them up at your table, you take marketing photos and you place these online. It gives your customers a sense of selection instead of just buying something that has been mass produced in a factory. If you really like this build and you'd like to see more like it, I've got other videos on the channel. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the YouTube algorithm when pushing out my content to new viewers. And we're trying to get the channel monetized by this Christmas. We'll see if that's possible or not. Either way, I've got another video up here in the corner that you can check out next with another awesome Christmas build. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank everyone that made it here to the end of the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, we're not waiting 30 minutes. We're gonna dry this thing right now. Apparently our hot glue is not very hot.